Drake is being sued for stealing yet again, but this time around, the boy might be actually innocent, and we're gonna talk about it in this video and discuss exactly what he's been accused of stealing and why I don't think this lawsuit is gonna go anywhere actually.
Drake is being dragged into another lawsuit, and this time the accusation isn't about a beat, a lyric, or a sample. An artist is claiming Drake stole an entire visual concept and even pieces of his personal story for Drake's "What Did I Miss" music video. But once you dig into what's actually being argued here, the situation becomes way more complicated. Because yes, Drake was clearly inspired by the man's work, but whether he actually committed any kind of legal violation is a completely different conversation. Everything started when Drake dropped the visual to "What Did I Miss?", the one where he's surrounded by stacks of guns while rapping about betrayal, disloyal friends, and everybody flipping on him during the Kendrick beef. Fans immediately pointed out the similarities between Drake's video and the viral America Guns project that circulated a few years ago. The photographer behind that series is an Italian artist named Gabriele Galimberti, who became well known for taking powerful portraits of everyday Americans holding firearms as a way to comment on the culture surrounding weapon ownership.
This video right here is the cause of all the drama. So Drake released a visual with his song called "What Did I Miss?" In the song, Drake is surrounded by hella guns in poolside as he's rapping about how people betrayed him.
His most famous photo from the project shows a man sitting in a chair with an entire collection of guns arranged around him. That same layout appears in Drake's video, almost one-to-one, same atmosphere, same emotional tone, same dramatic arrangement. It's the kind of similarity that makes you stop the video and say, yeah, Drake definitely saw that picture. Even most Drake fans didn't deny it. Inspiration, clearly, direct copying. That depends on what you consider copying. But where this situation takes a wild turn is when Gabriele's lawsuit argues Drake didn't just borrow the imagery, he borrowed parts of Gabriele's personal history too. That's where things go from a copyright dispute into a bizarre psychological breakdown of what influence even means. According to the lawsuit, Gabriele says that when Drake recreated this specific visual theme, he wasn't just referencing the America Guns project. He allegedly used the deeper meaning behind it, including Gabriele's past controversies, to send hidden messages in the Kendrick Lamar beef. The lawsuit claims Drake is known for loading his visuals and lyrics with subliminal references. So the photographer believes Drake intentionally mirrored his personal struggles to create symbolism about his own public battles.
A lot of people were pointing out the similarities between Drake's video and the Amerigun campaign. The artist behind the Amerigun photo series is actually Gabriele Galimberto.
If that sounds like a stretch, you're not alone. Because instead of staying focused on the photo itself, the lawsuit dives into events from Gabriele's past, including a major scandal involving Balenciaga. During that controversy, Gabriele was one of the artists caught in the crossfire. News outlets used his gun-themed photos next to Balenciaga images, and he was falsely connected to things he never participated in. He later won a defamation case, but the moment temporarily damaged his name. Now he claims Drake chose to use imagery similar to his work because Drake was facing accusations of his own during the Kendrick beef. He believes Drake tried to copy the narrative arc of an innocent creator who was misjudged, criticized, then cleared. The idea is that Drake made himself look like the misunderstood artist who would eventually be vindicated. Just like Gabriele, whether you find that theory creative, paranoid, or simply overdramatic, the lawsuit treats it as fact. But that's only the beginning.
Now, he would claim that he started this series, as you see right here, where he just takes photos of people with guns. He started it January 26, 2020, exactly 3 years ago. Well, from this post right here.
Another major part of the lawsuit argues that Drake dropping the video on July 4th was symbolic, intentionally tied to Gabriele's America Guns project, as if Drake wanted viewers to assume the photographer had collaborated on the video. The lawsuit says the release date would make audiences subconsciously connect the video back to the original art. But when you really break down July 4th releases, they're usually chosen for one reason: views. It's a massive holiday in the United States, and dropping content on a holiday weekend is practically a marketing strategy at this point. Still, the lawsuit frames the timing as deliberate artistic theft. But the most surprising part of all, Gabriele claims that being associated with Drake's music video damaged his reputation in the fine art world. He describes himself as a serious professional whose work hangs in museums and galleries. He even implies that being linked in any way to a hip-hop visual could make collectors, critics, and art dealers look at him differently.
And this right here is what a lot of people, including myself, would probably say was Drake's inspiration for his What Did I Miss video. I mean, if you watch Drake's video and look at his photo, it's eerily similar.
The tone of the lawsuit paints hip-hop like it's some kind of lesser art form, almost like the association brings his work down instead of elevating it. It's the type of statement that says more about Gabriele than it does about Drake. But let's step away from the drama and look at the actual legal side, because this case could set brand new rules for how photography concepts are protected in the future. Traditionally, copyright lawsuits in music revolve around very specific things: melodies, lyrics, chord progressions, or samples. Those things can be copyrighted, but inspiration, general themes, moods, ideas are not protected. Nobody owns a vibe. Photography, however, is tricky. The image itself is protected. The composition is protected, but the underlying idea behind a photo is not. So the court has to decide whether Drake copied a photograph or just recreated the general concept of posing someone with a bunch of guns. If the judge decides Drake didn't directly duplicate a specific copyrighted piece, the case ends immediately. But if the judge believes the recreated scene is substantially similar, then it becomes a far bigger issue. And that's why even lawyers are watching this case. Depending on the outcome, artists everywhere could be stopped from recreating or referencing iconic photography concepts in music videos. Imagine someone taking a picture of themselves in a certain pose, and then being able to sue anyone else who strikes that same pose. That's why this lawsuit could turn into case law, because nobody wants a world where inspiration becomes illegal. The lawsuit also says Drake's actions damaged the value of Gabriele's photography, because people might believe he willingly collaborated on a hip-hop video friends apparently contacted. Gabriele's shocked that he worked with Drake. But that raises the question, are people really confusing a multi-million budget Drake music video with a niche photography project from an Italian artist? Especially when Drake didn't credit anyone. The average viewer watches a Drake video thinking about Drake, not the photographer who might have inspired a single frame, and that's where the case starts falling apart. To win, Gabriele has to prove the average person reasonably believed Drake collaborated with him. Not just that the video looks similar, he has to show Drake made people assume they were working together, and that's an almost impossible standard. Even fans who recognize the inspiration didn't think the artist had anything to do with it. At best, most people said, Drake probably saw that photo. At worst, he copied it. But nobody thought it was a partnership. So where does that leave everything? The truth is, this entire lawsuit feels less like an artist genuinely trying to protect his work, and more like someone trying to force his way into a massive legal precedent. If Drake settles, it sends a message that recreating any kind of visual theme is dangerous. If Drake fights it and wins, the courts establish that photography concepts can't be monopolized, and that's why many people believe Drake shouldn't settle. The outcome will shape how artists, filmmakers, and musicians use inspiration forever. So now we're left with one final question. Did Drake actually steal something? Or is this a situation where inspiration turned into a legal fishing expedition? Was this genuine harm or an attempt to cash in on a moment? And bigger than that, should creators be allowed to claim ownership over ideas, symbols, and themes? Let me know what you think down below. And if you want to see the next wild story happening in the industry, watch the video popping up on your screen right now. I'll see you there.